What's up, guys and gals, and welcome to Weekly Indie Newcomer, the Friday series where I take a look at an indie game that's been sent to me or otherwise landed in my lap or, on my face or wherever. Some games splatter when they hit me, and some of them remain solid like a softball and knock the wind out of me. This week I've been playing Frozen State a little bit by Snowark Studios, and the game is in very, very early alpha right now, and so it is being actively developed. You can get it on Steam through the link down below. And the game is intriguing. It is a crafting survival horror game. In the middle, it's almost like you took Stalker, and then you mixed it with a crafting game in the middle of just kind of the Siberian wasteland. And so essentially, it's post-apocalyptic. You're wandering around, you're crafting, you're trying to avoid mutants and nastiness, and generally just trying to avoid being shot, stabbed, slashed, or otherwise just dismantled. Like, that's really the ultimate goal, is just trying to keep all of your constituent parts where they go. So, for example, the arm goes in the arm slot. The head always stays in the head slot. If that goes somewhere else, you have a big, big problem on your hands or wherever it ends up landing. And so I guess I'll just kind of explain the game as we go along, because it's not really like a difficult game to explain, but at the same time it's really relying more on ambiance than anything else to draw players into the experience, much like you would expect from, that is the nature of games that tend to set themselves in Russia, is that they tend to be a little bit more depressing, they tend to be a little bit more apocalyptic, their sense of humor tends to be a little bit darker, and this game is no exception. And so in a world where there's loads and loads of crafting games, I see what they're trying to do, and so hopefully they can bring it all together. So welcome to my play session. We're probably going to play for about 20 minutes. I'll give you my pros and cons, and just the things that I've sort of noticed as I've been playing. And so hopefully from there, you'll be able to get a good idea as to whether this is a project that you want to support or not. And so we're going to go to a new game. And there's a couple characters you can choose. You can pick Stas or you can pick Ingvar right now. Maria is a character who's currently in development, as you might note from the large sign hanging here that says in development. Both characters have their benefits. I don't really tell the difference between the two aside from their starting loot. I think Ingvar starts with a pistol, and I think the bully starts with better clothing. So Stas is a 19-year-old high school bully. He's 19 and he's still in high school. Don't ask. He had to repeat like the 11th grade a couple times. Algebra 1 is a bitch of a class. Ingvar is I think he's ex-military as far as I know. I don't know what SDN is, but I'm assuming that officer means that he's some kind of commissioned officer in the military or something of that nature. Let's go. I like both characters. I've played them both. I think that I'm going to go with Ingvar today. So let's go ahead and we'll go with Ingvar first, because I think he starts with a pistol unless they nerfed it. I don't know. I haven't played the game since, I think it's patched twice since the last time I played it, and I was really sort of waiting for the development to go a little bit further before I featured it, but I had an empty slot this week, so I figured, you know what? YOLO, Frozen State time, and oh my god, I just said YOLO. I think I'm going to have to punch myself repeatedly in the side of the head when I get done with this recording. But welcome to Duga 40. And so all it's saying is that this abandoned house has become kind of our makeshift shelter. There's a number of things that you want to note about this game. The enemies that are trying to kill you are the problem, but the main enemy you're going to face in this game as you play is 100% going to be you freezing to death. And so the first thing we want to do is we want to find out where better clothing is. And the only way to really do that is just to scout around. And so let's take a look at the bookshelf over here. The controls are very, very simple. WASD, it leaves you in run mode. Running does affect your body temperature. And so as you're running, your body temperature will stay higher. That can be denoted over here. When this falls down and becomes blue, you'll get a little icon, like a little debuff icon over here that'll let you know that you're about to start losing health because you're freezing to death. You're going hypothermic. Let's search this bookshelf. There's 2 chocolate bars on the bookshelf. A bookshelf that is after my own heart. Who needs literature when you have bookshelves full of chocolate? Why even bother broadening your literatic, horizons, I guess, when you could really just kind of make Willy Wonka with it and get down with that lovely chocolate frown. I don't know. I never frown when I'm eating chocolate, but I wanted it to rhyme. Now, there's a small radio over here. Let's pick that up. We don't really need it right now. I'm assuming that's going to be worked into the gameplay at some point, where maybe somebody's going to contact you through the radio, or it's possible that you might be able to pick up broadcasts at some point. As of right now, as far as I can tell, you just put it on the ground once you put a battery in it, and it's like it just plays music, and you do like a little dance, and that's all there is to it. Oh, this is a campfire right here. Okay, so we're going to leave this for a little while. This is going to become important once night comes. And the other thing that you want to be aware of is the amount of windows and doors and things actually do matter for your heat retention. So if you're in a building that has the windows shot out or something, so for example, bandits or whatever could come by here and knock out these windows, or monsters or whatever, and destroy the windows, my house would then be really terrible for surviving. And so there's a lot of interesting ideas in this game that mostly seem to focus more on survivalism. You will come across monsters every now and again, But by and large, like I said, the big thing you're going to be facing is kind of freezing all the time. Now, that does sort of suddenly stop sometimes if you find yourself really, really good clothing early on in the game. The game is permadeath, so once you die, that's that. It takes you on back to the login screen, or not the login screen, the introductory screen. The sleeping bag on the floor, so we'll take that. Ooh, 5 more chocolate bars. I think at least my sweet tooth is going to get itself handled. But as far as our normal hunger goes, we've got gunpowder, we've got sewing threads, pluralized, we've got some rat sausage. As appetizing as that sounds, I guess beggars can't be choosers. There's a box wood right here. I'm assuming that that's supposed to be wooden box. It looks like a bread box or something, I don't know. And it's a box with 2 backpacks in it. So you've got a little bit of boxception, or I guess receptacleception right there. You've got like a backpack inside of a box inside of a backpack, but those are actually really, really useful. And it's lucky that we picked those up so early on, because what we can do is hit the tab key, which is going to open up. It's sort of like the Pip-Boy, I guess is what they're sort of referencing here. It's called the IR-12 or something like that. I forget what it's called. But you can, what does this do? Oh, you can't actually click those right now. Oh, I didn't even know that these buttons were interactable right now. Well then, I'm hoping that later on these actually affect the sound effect volumes or something. That would be really, really cool if they actually had the options menu as part of the interface, like the manual hardware of your machinery. So we have a cyanide capsule. So if things get really, really rough, we can take ourselves out of the picture. We can just go ahead and erase ourselves, leave little rubber shavings all over the place if we wanted to. We have batteries. We've got some matches that we started out with, 40 of them, in fact. We've got some paper, which is good because you need that in order to kindle your fires and to make more firewood. Unfortunately, you can't just go with like wood and matches. You have to have something small in between that you can start the whole thing up for. And so they are focused a little bit more on realism, the zombies and monsters and mutants aside. And so as you can see here, putting these backpacks on actually increases the amount of weight that I can carry. So I can carry 218 kilograms. Now, what I will say about the inventory system in this game is that it tends to become a little bit convoluted. One of the observations that I've had through playing is that after you've accumulated a couple hundred items and you have like 3 amazing backpacks, the problem you run into is this list right here gets really, really long. And I'm not really sure how they would remedy that issue aside from maybe making like a picture based inventory on this side. So instead of having like firewood, you would have this picture down here, and maybe they could just expand all this out, and then you could right click it to get the stats and the description of it, so that this big area right here would actually be your inventory. Maybe you could open up the bags and keep individual things in different bags. It's just organization wise, I find that you either have to store stuff in your house in random cabinets and things to keep things organized, but if you keep everything on your person, if you get really, really good bags early on, your backpack gets really, really crowded really fast, and you'll just have like hundreds of items that just all bleed into one another. It can be hard to find like the one thing that you want. And so that's just one of those things. Maybe other people won't have that problem. We do have light clothing, so I should put that on right now. What does it say about the light clothing? Hold on. Let me click that over here. Autumn clothes do not provide the best protection, neither from cold nor sharp claws, but they are light and easy to find. There are going to be typos around because from what I understand, this is being developed by Russian developers, as far as I know, and I apologize very, very deeply, SnowArk, if I've got your nationality wrong. Unfortunately, I'm pretty sure it's being developed by a Russian company right now, and it's being ported over or something. Some of the translations are going to be a little bit off, but if you're a fan of indie gaming, that should be nothing new to you right now. You will have seen translation issues galore playing through. We have a stat system now, interestingly enough, and I don't recall this being in the game the last time I played it, and so as you can see, it is being developed. You get resources at some point, maybe? I don't know. It looks like you get some kind of experience or something, but this is actually new since the last time I played, so that's kind of cool. They've added a skill system. The last time I played, this was actually grayed out. You couldn't click on it, so that's awesome. We've got the map, which is still in development. You've got the user manual. So the game comes with a very, very large tutorial manual just in case you wanted to learn some things. I know I'm not really showing the game too much right now, but we've got plenty of time. Worst case scenario is I'll have this thing run a little bit longer. I do think that the interface is really, really important when it comes to like building and crafting games. If you've got like a weird interface that just can't be circumnavigated, I get frustrated anyways, or at least it becomes more of a pain than a pleasure to play the game. And obviously we play video games to pleasure ourselves or something. I don't know, that sentence came out a little bit precariously, maybe a little bit promiscuously, but whatever. We're going to stick with it now. This is the crafting menu. You can make your own bullets. You can make building materials, and from there you can make food that you can cook. You can do survival items. There's buildings over here. Obviously, these are still works in progress. They're going to add more items as the game goes along, but you're looking for things so that you can build cabins and stuff later on, so long as you don't mind holding up in a house. But I actually do think that the house that they start you with in a lot of cases is actually probably your best plan, so that's what we're going to stick with for right now. If you have oh, there's something right there. Dried fish, a packed lunch, and a cooking pot. Okay. If you want to rotate the screen, you just hold down right click and it'll affect your character's view. And then if you want to look off into the distance, you can use the center mouse button, the scroll wheel. If you depress the scroll wheel with a couple terrible stories, you can actually scan a little bit further out for your eye line, just in case you wanted to. Right now, we don't know what time it is, and I'm not super stoked about venturing out into the darkness and getting myself murdered. And so maybe we'll just take like a cursory glance outside. I'm going to go out through the back door. This one is locked with a padlock right now to keep people from breaching and clearing and so forth. This door will probably be locked. And so by holding down the E button, you can look at the door status. You can slide the latch over right there, and now the door will be open. Remember that when you come back into your house, it's very probable that you're going to want to close the door behind you and also latch it. It will keep kind of more inquisitive monsters from just sort of walking into your house. Now, the big bruiser guys that just kick down the front door and don't give a damn because they can smell you on the breeze, and they're still going to keep coming at you. It's probably our fault for not bathing very well, but the latch will keep smaller stuff away. And I would say there's not a ton of monsters in the game right now. I think I've seen like 3 or 4 different types in my couple hours of playing the game, and so there's not a whole lot to deal with right now. I am hoping that later on there are going to be AI survivors or maybe some kind of multiplayer added so that you can deal with. What does that do for me? Oh, it actually lets me get up on top of the shed. Okay, we can pick up this scrap over here. So let's do that. The scrap will be useful later on. I hope that that didn't like hurt me falling off the ladder right there. We climbed up, but we jumped down because that's just the kind of skillful bastard that we are. Oh, we have a firewood pile over here. A firewood pile that actually has a ton of firewood on it. Hopefully it's dry. No, it's all dry. You don't have to worry about the drying status of your firewood. I didn't grow up in a place that was particularly cold. So I think the coldest it ever got when I was growing up was maybe like 30 degrees, 28 degrees, and that was on like a really, really harsh winter. However, on the opposite end, our summers were typically like 115 to 120 degrees. Not on average, but on their worst days. I think the worst temperature I ever saw was 123. And I made the mistake of going to a theme park that day, and it was actually sort of nice. Telling the story, it was sort of nice because in a lot of ways, there was nobody there. Everybody else was smart and did not go to the theme park, the roller coaster rides. There was no lines whatsoever. There were no lines whatsoever. Actually, that pained me to say that right there. Using was and were improperly, it does that to me. Some people don't mind, but for me, it's actually physically painful. It makes my teeth hurt slightly when I use the wrong syntax. I don't know if that's normal or if it just makes me out to be some kind of anal weirdo, but we can throw punches. Actually, I have a weapon right now that I should probably equip so that we can use it later. We have an old axe, and so there it is. The old-ass axe, we can actually equip that by using the number keys just like you would in a first-person or third-person shooter. 0 is our fist. Bam. Just in case you want to throw a knuckle duster out there, a knuckle sandwich, although, honestly, if we're in a survival situation, trying to keep all the sandwiches to myself, especially the knuckle sandwiches. So let's go back into our house because it actually seems as though the game has started us pretty close to nighttime. If you look at our meter, it has gone down slightly. Running will help, but it's not going to bring us up once nighttime gets here. During the day, as long as you stay running, you should be okay. But at nighttime, you're going to see that drop off pretty quickly. As far as guns go, I have seen a number of guns playing through the game, and it's unfortunate that I'm not able to go explore right now. Instead, what I think I might do, so let's go back over here, and I'm just going to start this campfire up. We picked up our sleeping bag. I'm actually going to deploy this, and you do that by right-clicking, and you go to Setup. And if you go to Setup, it'll actually give you this building menu right here. You can rotate the sleeping bag to face whatever direction you want. I think I'm going to sleep with my head to the window right here. And then we just press the E key to drop that on the floor. I love how the tooltips pop up at the bottom so that you're not confused about what button you should be pressing or how this works, because you can actually have the deployment menu out and still be fighting simultaneously. Let's go ahead and start this fire on up. And there it is right there. And I think I might actually rest for 8 hours, and we'll see where that leaves us. I'm not really sure if that's going to be enough time to get us to morning, or, okay, it looks like they've got this little picture of a bladder, and we're freezing to death now, which is super enjoyable. I'm going to go ahead and relight that fire, and as you can see, our temperature should go back up. This will drop off right here. I don't know if the fire attracts things, but it's better than freezing to death. Better to be alive for at least another couple minutes till the monsters get here than to freeze to death. That right there might be, oh, it's slight dehydration. I think we have some water around here somewhere. Maybe. We have fresh snow, so we can get water out of that. We can get rid of our hunger by eating a packed lunch, but that might be a little bit too much for us right now. Let's just eat a rat sausage. And so there it is. That put our health back up, and it also topped out our hunger. Our dehydration is still going to be a problem, though. And to deal with this, what we want to do is examine the fire. And by examining the fire, what we can do is we can actually take the fresh snow that we had right there, and we can melt that down into water. Now, I don't think that I have anything to put the water into. Let me go through my menu right now. I know you can pick up bottles and things later on. No, it auto-bottles it for you. Even better, auto-bottle. That sounds like the absolute worst Transformer character ever. He's auto-bottle. His only job is just putting fluids in receptacles. If he goes to any of the battles, he's just absolutely horrific. There we go. And so we've got ourselves 3 flasks of water. I'm actually going to let our thirst get a little bit worse before I do that. Let me sleep for another 4 hours, and we'll see if that gets us to the morning. And it almost got us to the morning. So let's go ahead and we'll go like another 3 hours, like 3.5 right there. Okay, so that got us to the morning. Our campfire managed to survive throughout the night. We're going to have to rebuild that later, but for now, what we want to get out and go and do is explore. So let's take a look at our dehydration, make sure that that's not too far down. We'll use one of our water flasks. There it is, and so that put us back up to maximum. I try to use things where they'll get their maximum effect. So let's take this from like a numerary example. If I have 50 out of 100 dehydration, where it's decreasing from 100, and I know that I can get 55 out of an item, I tend to wait until I'm at 45 so that I can use the full 55, because that's just how I work. Let's go out this way, and there is a world map that's sort of fashioned a little bit off the old Fallout games. So if you've played Fallout 1 or Fallout 2, the world map is actually going to make a lot of sense to you in this game. We can chop down trees with this axe, in case you were wondering if it had any utility use aside from bashing monsters over the head. Indeed, it does. We can do all kinds of funsies with it. So let's go ahead and skip that tip right there, and let's leave the location. And these are areas that are inaccessible. We can't get to them. What we can do is we can click over here, and we can travel to this area. And let's explore it right now and see what's up. Now, if the area had a green area in it, it means that there's an event there. Like there might be, I honestly don't know. I don't think I've ever seen an event. In fact, I'm not really sure if they've been implemented yet. I've never seen one in my couple hours of playing the game, but they are already on the UI, which means that it's a planned part of the implementation. Now, with a lot of the enemies in this game, oh, there's a big guy right there. So we want to go into sneak mode. That's one of the enemies right there. Luckily, they're not very... They're not very perceptive. They don't tend to notice you very easily. I don't know if there's even going to be buildings around here. We're sneaking right now. As long as he's off the screen, it looks like there's a fence. So yeah, let's see if there's anything we can scavenge over here. It looks like there's a house with a barricade. We might be able to break this down. I'm not super sure if this will work, but we can try it. I know that you can chop doors down sometimes. So yeah, I don't actually think we can get through that barricade, and it might actually be wearing down our axe. No, it's not. Okay, our axe durability is fine. Let's continue scouting out in the distance, because the world is very dangerous. It is quite possible to get yourself whacked very early on in this game. And there's actually no way into the house that I can tell so far. Maybe we'll continue working on that barricade for a second. Looks like we've got a bench over there. Is there something sitting on the bench? There is. Is that scrap metal? Scrap metal is useful in this game. You can use it for a lot of random stuff, and so you kind of want to have it if you can find it. Nope, not scrap metal. Doesn't count. You can chop down that tree right there. You can chop down. There's a zombie by the tree, I think. Yeah, there's a zombie by the tree, so we don't want to go over there. So let's stay down over here. I'm going to see if I can chop my way through this barricade. I don't think that sneaking's actually doing any good for me. Let's see if this works. I don't know if it will. We're going to try, though. We are going to try, because this house actually seems like it's a little bit smaller. It's only got one entrance, which means if the enemy comes after us, we may get ourselves into trouble as far as... Can I hop over this somehow, then? I can activate the door, though. That is unfortunate. So I guess that's not going to be useful to me at all. I guess we'll go back out, and I don't think there's going to be anything else in this zone. It seems as though the zone assemblies are limited to like 1 or 2 buildings at a time. You can zoom in and out using the mouse wheel if you wanted to. We'll go back up to the north, and then we shall walk throughout the Siberian tundra. Let's go. And we will read our depressing literature while we're out here. Okay, and it looks like we're actually backed into a little bit of a corner. Hopefully we'll find a building. Oh, good. We did. We found a building that we might be able to make use of. Let's hope that it's not locked out here. It's actually right near the front of our exploration area, so I'm going to try and hit some of the stuff outside. Dumpster says my cop on it. Oh yeah, we can hide in dumpsters and things. Just in case you're running from the enemies, they are like working on a hiding system and things like that, where you can get inside receptacles and bins and things. Oh good, it's open. Now all we have to do is hope that there's not a monster inside of it that's going to jump us before the screen transitions into its, or the roof transitions into like an opacity mode. Is there anything lootable in here? This game can be very, very different in between your plays. Like some playthroughs of this game perfectly fine. You find all kinds of stuff, and then on my other playthroughs, sometimes I have trouble finding even the barest necessities. So it really sort of depends. If you have a bear standing by with like songs ready to go with regards to your bare necessities, then by all means, feel free to just restart if you can't find the things that you need. I don't like to keep bears waiting. They seem like they might lose their temper pretty easily. Got a zombie over there. He's got like a weird schnoz thing going on. I don't know. He's got like a Cubert head thing going on. Pretty soon he's going to start bouncing around and destroying all our lit up cubes or something. Let's go ahead and dodge that. When I was a kid, Cubert was one of my favorite games. I loved Cubert when I was a kid. So if you played Cubert, kudos to you. Or should I say kudos to you, I guess. We might be able to camp out here for the night. This building, actually, all the windows are intact and everything's looking pretty safe in here. Can I bring this television with me? No, I can't. Well, we're looking at a building that doesn't have a lot of exits. Don't worry about that. That's not like a wall that's missing or anything. It's actually not snowing inside. You can tell because the snow is not falling inside of the texture for the building, and you can see we warmed up very, very quickly. Worst case scenario is if we can't finish our scavenging trip early enough on. Oh, Christ, he spit at me. What a dick. This is not okay. I'm gonna see if I can murder him, because nobody spits on me and gets away from it. You can loot the bodies in this game. He's only got infected meat, so his infected man meat is on offer if we were really feeling desperate enough to shove that into our mouth, but I'm not feeling that desperate right now. I'm really feeling like we've probably got better options at the moment. Let's run out into here, unless this is the building that I was already in. No, it looks like there's sheet metal in there. I've lost my cursor. The door is actually latched, which means we're going to have to break the door down. So let's get going on that. Okay, and so the door has been destroyed. And we'll grab this scrap metal off the ground. Good. Is there anything over here I can make use of? That's not going to count. Now you can see here the snow texture is still falling inside the building. Oh good, fresh snow. That's at least a supply of more water, so that'll work out for us. I am thinking about doing an LP on this game, so if by the end of this little kind of introduction to Frozen State you haven't felt like you've gotten enough, there is a chance that I'm probably going to play this game once it releases like an actual state of release. So I'm thinking maybe when it goes into beta or something like that and it's got like storyline implemented, essentially where Wasteland was a little bit ago. What we need to make right now is we need to craft ourselves a campfire so that we can warm up. So let's go ahead and... Where's the campfire at? I think it's in the survival menu. So it takes 1 firewood, 2 paper, and 1 matches. Let's actually make 5 of those. And so we've created 5 campfires, and if you go to my inventory, we just carry them right along with us. I guess we got kind of like an Apache match thing going on. It's right here at the bottom. If you want to build it, you just right-click it and you say set up. Instead of doing that, I think what I may do... Oh, you can click the power button. That's awesome, too. I like that. I like that a lot. It looks like nighttime is actually beginning to fall. It wasn't supported properly, and so I think it may sort of collapse all around us and about our head. Since we haven't actually done any valuable scavenging right now, I think I'm just going to kind of isolate myself in this house. Let's hope that the monsters... Did I bring my sleeping bag with me? I messed something up here. I know I messed something. I forgot my sleeping bag. So, in fact, we may not have an option. I think we're going to have to travel from here to another location. We're going to have to go back to our original house because I forgot my sleeping bag. So that's a big, big problem, especially considering our character is very, very tired at the moment. And we've got a monster guarding the exit. So another building over there. There's a hole in the fence, so let's see if maybe we can get over here. I think this is probably going to be hideable, like you probably hide inside of it or something. Oh no, you can't. But there is an exit on the other side of this building. So even as even if this little guy right here sees us, we should be able to outrun him. I hope. I mean, our health is looking a little bit suspect. We're going to outrun him. We're going to go back to our original base, and then we're just going to camp out there for the night. When we eat food, we'll get our health back anyways. We are slightly freezing at the moment. I went the wrong direction. Oh, hell. He doesn't seem to have locked in on the fact that I'm right in front of him. We are very, very close to being hypothermic. In fact, we are hypothermic right now, but I think I'm still going to try and make the journey back to our house. We're losing health pretty quickly, but I think we'll be alright. So now we're back at our house. I need to find our house. That's the first thing. I think our front gate is over here. Yeah, our front gate is over here. Awesome. And we left the gate standing wide open. It's welcoming us back to the house. It didn't want us to feel like it didn't want us here. The world is hostile and bad enough already without the gate also persecuting us. However, I think the front door was locked, so we're going to need to go through the back. Worst case is if our health starts getting really low, what I can do is I can eat a bunch of food and it puts your health back up. This game doesn't have realistic healing. You just eat a bunch of food and your health comes back, just like Wolfenstein and many other video game tropes. In fact, I'm going to say that it's Gauntlet. I'm going to say that Red Survivor needs food badly. Open this door on up, and now we'll close it. Let's go ahead and latch the... No. I want to latch the door, not open it. Ah, well. I'll just double close those doors right there. Hopefully there's nothing in our house at the moment. Our campfire is ready to go. Our body heat should go back up pretty soon. But in case it doesn't, I'm going to deploy a campfire right here. And we'll press E. There's our campfire. And now what we want to do is we can cook. So you can take things and you can cook them over the fire. I'm not going to worry about that right now. We're just going to eat the rat sausage since that's already pre-prepared. You see our health jump back up to 102. It's not much, but it is something. We've got a lot of dried fish and things too. So I actually don't think that... Oh, dehydration is pretty bad though, as well as our temperature. I keep pressing the escape button to get out of this. So let's sit by the fire for a second until this debuff goes away. There it is. And so what we'll do now is we'll rest here for, say, 10 hours. That should get us to the morning. Maybe. Yes? Okay, awesome. We made it to the morning. And so that's now converted into ashes. We're going to get back out there and explore because we haven't done much yet. 1927. Let's just go out the front door. I don't even care. It's got a door lock on it. We can go and make pass keys and things. They're also putting in like a lock picking system just in case you wanted to pick locks and do all that kinds of fun stuff. Essentially, the game is going to have a lot of RPG elements, would be my guess, once it's all finished up, especially after looking at the skills list that they've given us. It seems as though a lot of things are going to be sort of locked out to you until you have the appropriate skill levels, and as you get better at things, you're going to get more crafting recipes and things like that. I do think that the game is going to have a very reasonable sense of longevity once it gets to that point, and I think I'm going to make this recording a little bit longer because we haven't actually accomplished anything just yet. So I'm going to go out over here, and we'll check this location, and we'll just make this weekly indie newcomer a little bit longer, because as of right now, we haven't actually done anything fun, and this is kind of the downside to the way that this game plays, is that every now and again you have a playthrough that just doesn't go the way that you want. If you're noticing this nasty little melted sort of thing that's going on all around our character, it's because our debuff has gotten too high, but it should slowly go away because our body temperature is recovering slightly. A metal crate. There's a pack of buckwheat. There's some nails. The nails are going to be very useful. There's something up on the roof. So upstairs is looking like a risky proposition. And in fact, oh, it fell on us. Oh, hell. I don't even know if I can kill this. Hold on. Let me eat some food. Let me eat a packed lunch or something just to get health back because it's about to murder us. This is a massive waste of our food, by the way. But it allowed us to survive, so... You do what you got to do. He might have loot as well. And at the bare minimum, it means that we can keep this house cleared out so that we can search it a little bit further. That's just the way things go sometimes. If we can find stairs to get upstairs, I think that's going to be the thing that I'd want to look for right now. There's another metal crate over here, although is that a zombie right there? What was that? No, there's something laying on the floor. It's just like a pile of cereal or something. I love cereal. Let's see, we've got some 7.62mm bullets and some paper. We've got a rotten tomato. That's not going to help us out. We have absolutely no movies to watch, and we have nothing that's out in theaters right now that we're interested in either. And so rotten tomato is totally worthless to us at the moment. We'll grab metal scrap off the ground. Let's just keep moving. We've got a little case over here. Oh, hell, we've got one of those spitty things. Hopefully he's bad at kind of finding us. Otherwise, this... What did I just pick up? Oh, a gas mask. Cool. It gives us defense, so we might as well wear it right now, I guess. Oh, he did find us. Bastard. Can I eat this? No. I gotta look for something that I can eat that will make me more healthy, but at the same time won't be such a waste. Maybe the chocolate. Let's go look after the chocolate here. The chocolate actually does like nothing for us, so that's not gonna work. We need to... Maybe the dried fish will give us a bit more health. Okay, so the dried fish unfortunately is salted though, so it's raising our dehydration. That's bad. And water doesn't help us get any of our health back either. That guy's just going to spit at us until we close the gap with him. Luckily, he is like the least threatening type of zombie, so he's not quite as bad as it could have been. If we got another one of those little sprinty, runny, spidery things, we'd probably be dead right now. We would more than likely be 6 feet under, or wherever it is we end up. We wouldn't be 6 feet under the snow for at least a couple more days. What is this? An SDN helmet. Oh, cool. It's kind of like a... It's got like a... a World War II vibe going. Okay, so that'll give us 3 defense. That's even better. It doesn't go on our character, though, unfortunately. That's one thing that I would say is lacking, is I would very much like to see, when you change equipment, I would like to see the textures change on your characters. Obviously, this is kind of an indie development, so they may not have the resources. Oh, there's an AK over there. Ooh. Hopefully it's loaded. If it's not loaded, we might be in a little bit of trouble. More Rotten Tomatoes. The universe just wants to tell us its opinion about movies, and it just can't stand the fact that we don't care. An AK-45. All right. All right. A metal crate. Let's search that. No bullets, unfortunately. Is the gun loaded? Let's have a look here. We'll go ahead and equip it in our secondary slot. No, it's got 0 out of 0. I thought that you could hit people with the buff, or with the buff. I thought you could hit the people with the rifle's ass, though, if you were really sort of in a desperate situation. At least we found something, though, this time. So that leads us to a spot where maybe later on we can find something that could be used with it. I thought that it used 7.62 rounds, although I know that AKs can be chambered differently, but I thought 7.62s was what an AK uses, but it doesn't look like it, actually. We can break it down if we wanted to into constituent parts, I guess. I've never actually done that. When I find a gun in this game, it's usually such a rare occurrence that I try to keep it constructed as best as possible. We've got a little bit more scrap metal over here. We'll pick that up. Can I sneak through this hole right here? Awesome. We were able to sneak through a hole. We can add that to our list of things on our resume that we have accomplished in our lives. Snuck into holes unnoticed. I feel like that might raise the interviewer's eyebrow. They'd be like, so what kind of hole are we talking about here? And you'd be like, a foxhole, silly. Of course I'm not talking about anything biological. Another gas mask. Okay. Just in case our adventures get somewhat gaseous, based on some of the food that we've been picking up, I think that that might be a possibility. We've got another metal crate upstairs. It looks like there are things that we can make use of, so I'm going to try and do that. Let's get back up here and see if there's anything we can make use of. There's another item right here. These little red cases are always... Oh, I thought that shadow moving along the edge of the screen was some kind of monster or something running around. I was like, no! What is this? A Soviet uniform. A worn-off military uniform, all patched and muddy. I don't know if that's better than what we're wearing or not. I'm not so sure that it is. Basically what happens is as you get better clothing... Oh, crackers. Good. Fantastic. Crackers are actually... I had like hundreds of these in my last playthrough. I had so many of them. I'm just going to use them right now because you get a little bit of health from them. And I don't like our health situation at the moment. I don't think you can fall off of these planks. I think this whole thing actually counts as one big clipping plane that you can't fall off of. Don't quote me on it. If you fall through these planks, don't blame me. It's almost the edge of the... Oh, yeah, you can actually fall through. Okay, never mind. Don't count on me to ever give you any accurate information on any game ever. How about that? It may sound like I'm sabotaging my future career as kind of like a game first impressions person, but you know what? Don't trust me for anything. Nevalyashka. Nevalyashka? What the hell is Nevalyashka? Oh, it's a doll. A child's toy. I don't know if that's ever going to be useful to us. I think I may chop down a tree right here just to show you that you can indeed knock down trees. So there it is. You can chop down trees, and as you can see over here, we got 4 logs out of the process. I don't know about you, but I would like to see the tree actually fall over, and then you could pick up the logs off the ground maybe. It might be a little bit more aesthetically pleasing, but for right now, as I said, alpha, alpha, alpha. You just got to repeat that to yourself over and over again when you play a game like this. For an alpha, the game does have a reasonable amount of stuff that you can do. I mean, honestly, oh, there's another one of those creepy crawlies over there. Let's get low. Can I search this pile over here? This looks like it might be searchable. Let's have a look. In fact, it is not, so unfortunately we can't search that. They are planning on putting vehicles and things you can reassemble once you get further along into development, I think. Like you can fix cars so that you can drive around a little bit faster, or maybe you don't suffer the elements so much while you're driving around, because that is a big problem with the game at the moment. Is that not a problem with the game, I guess. It's a problem for your character anyways. I worded that all wrong. Oh, nope, I don't want to fight you either. You're scary, and you make me sad, and you make me want to cry. But this building over here seems like it might have good things inside of it. And so I am going to plumba its depths. Yeah, it looks like we've already got a red case over there. Oh, Christ, he's sniping me off the stairs. Bastard. Okay, so thus far, our adventures in exploration have not gone so well. We're going to use that to give ourselves some health back before this goes straight combat mode on us, because we don't have much of a choice. In fact, I may just use the chocolate bars here. So there we go. The chocolate bar has a picture of a child on it for some reason. I don't know why. They're trying to imply that only children like chocolate, but I'm pretty sure that everyone likes chocolate. Chocolate is like the universal gap bridger, I guess. I can't fit through right there. I don't seem to be able to jump through the windows or anything either. So I guess we've got to go around the back door. This is a very, very long weekly indie newcomer, but I did want to show off more of the scavenging gameplay. Essentially, this is just a game where you sift through things and you find things that you like, and you get like that little release of, I don't know, serotonin or whatever the hell it is your brain gives you when you find cool stuff in video games. A bicycle messenger bag. So we can actually equip that in our third slot right there. And that will give us not very much. It's one of the smaller packs, but might be useful. Where's this monster at? He might be down here somewhere. Ow. Okay, so we're being sniped off the stairs again. He's actually appears to be stuck on the stair collision. The AI is kind of dumb. I'm going to come up here and smack him in the face until he dies. Cool. Exploit ho! I don't care. This game is hard, and so I'll take any boon that I can get. Another Soviet-era uniform. Unfortunately, still not quite as good. The thing that you're looking for is there's this thing called an aviation suit. It's like a flight suit or something like that, and it basically keeps you warm. Even when you're wandering around at night, it keeps your warmth up, so then you can explore in the evenings, and it is super awesome. It gives you a bunch of defense and stuff too, so it's actually quite the find if you can come across it. We're also looking like our character's getting tired, so let's go ahead and we'll try and finish up the scavenging run before we go anywhere else, but for right now, I don't actually see us finding anything. So along the other aspects of gameplay is you can plane out the wood, you can turn it into planks, you can use the scrap metal to build yourself cabins and other little hideaways and things like that. There's 2 batteries in that little box right there. Unfortunately, they're probably drained. My mom, I used to have an argument with my mom all the time. She keeps batteries in the fridge, and I would say that these batteries are more than likely dead because actually batteries being in cold places makes them die a lot faster. She won't believe me, but I've tried to explain it and be like, you know what? You should not do that because science says that that makes the battery die very, very quickly. But whatever, nobody listens to me. That's one of the things that I've noted in life is that very few people actually ever want to listen to the things that I have to say. I'm going to scavenge because I like to live on the edge like this. If we get really, really unlucky, we could just build a campfire out here in the middle of nowhere. We found another AK. Is this one loaded by any chance? No, none of them are loaded. We've got a bag over here that might be useful though, so let's have a look at that. A messenger bag. I'll take it. I'll take it. I don't think it's going to be a little bit better than our bicycle bag, but not as good as everything else. 9mm shells. Unfortunately, that's not actually the bullet. A flagon of perfume, 27 papers. The paper is actually the best find that we've had this entire scavenging session. You might not believe me, but paper is actually in high demand. Like, it's very difficult to find paper sometimes in order to kindle your fires. I've actually frozen to death in like the first 10 minutes of my playthrough simply because I couldn't find paper anywhere. They may have made it so that paper spawns with you by default now. I'm not sure, but I had problems with that in one of my playthroughs. We'll just jump down off of here and let's go back to our main base, and we'll just kind of talk about the pros and cons of this game right now. The obvious elephant in the room is that the game is an early alpha, and so that's going to be a con for a lot of people that they are just not going to get around. The game is reasonably cheap. I got it for free. You can look at the price on the Steam website because I'm drawing a complete and total blank right now because I'm a huge unprofessional noob about these sorts of things. But as far as I remember, the game was like $14.99 or something along those lines, maybe $12.99. So it's pretty cheap. It's not bad. But for what you're getting right now, I'd say you probably get 8 hours of gameplay out of it before you've just about tapped out everything in the crafting system and you've seen what there is to see. But this is a game to watch because, as with any game in development that might have RPG elements added to it, it has the definite possibility that it may have some very real depth in the future. And it's just kind of, as of right now, I think kefir. What is kefir? Gone off kefir has a nasty smell and can cause severe diarrhea and dehydration. I don't even know what kefir is. I'm going to assume it's some kind of milk-related drink since it goes bad. You can just jump off the top right there. I'm actually going to make a run for it back to our base. That is the big thing that I would say is the game is very much in development right now. There are big bits and pieces missing from the game that are going to bother some people. Also, moving around is a little bit sluggish. Hopefully that's going to be part of the skill system later on, as maybe you'll be able to level up and run around. The combat obviously is a little bit loose at the moment. I'd like to see that tightened up, both in the way that enemies hit you and you hit enemies. Sometimes it seems like hits register that are nowhere near you, and also that your hits register even when they're a little bit far off. Both with projectile weapons and with melee weapons, the hitboxes seem to be a little bit generous on both ends. I think that's probably as a precaution, but that is a definite con for some people. On the pros end, the game has nowhere to go but up right now. Obviously, the game is promising, and I do like the setting. I was a big fan of the Stalker series. I've played both Pripyat, I've played Clear Sky. I very much like Stalker, both the lore, the world, and the games, and this is kind of a top-down version mixture of Stalker and Fallout, and so it's got all of those little elements. If you're into survival crafting games, obviously this is going to be another one that you want to keep on your radar in the future, and that's what it has going for it. It is one of the more promising crafting games I think that's in development right now. I mean, obviously some people can feel free to disagree with me, but it's one that I have on my radar. I've had it on my wish list on Steam for a while. I've had it in my little book. I have a little book of games to keep an eye on. Games that not necessarily are on their own super good right now, but with the way that the development or the world is looking that I'm particularly interested in. And so it is inside my little book right now, which just getting inside my little book means that you have to have the right combination of both lore and gameplay mechanics and kind of the promises being made. But as of right now, a very, very primitive game. So if you don't want to play a primitive game, watch out for it. This would not be a purchase for you. This is a game that you want to stay away from right now if you don't like playing like 0.01 versions of games. If you're gonna play the game and be like, oh, well, there's nothing to do, probably not going to be for you, so watch out. If alphas bother you pretty consistently, this one will more than likely bother you as well. But if you're looking to scratch that crafting itch and just play around with something new right now, and you're not particularly worried about it having, you know, all the bits and pieces in place, then Frozen State might be for you. So check it out down below in the description if you want to get the game. My name is Splattercat, and this is Weekly Indie Newcomer, my Friday series where I play a random indie game that's either in alpha or release form that's just landed on my desk over the course of the last week. This is Frozen State one last time. I'll see you all next Friday. Take care out there, everybody, and as always, hi-do.